A character you will never play ever again. I'll spare you most of the details about all of the 4th edition characters that I will never ever play again. If I ever play 4th edition again, and I'm open to the idea, I am only going to play a tactical warlord, and that's it. Never ever any of the other characters again. I've played a paladin, I've played other types of warlords, I played a fighter, I played a rogue, I played a wizard, didn't like them. I played a cleric and a sorcerer as well in online games. Didn't like them, didn't like any of them, didn't enjoy them. I liked the idea of some of them, the character part of the evil cleric that I played, or the malfunctioning robot sorcerer. He was actually a fun one, and I would probably play him again in a different game, but he was, this was in my phase when I was trying to teach 4th edition people that just because that's what the game says doesn't mean that that's what has to be. I had gotten into a big argument because I said, well, if you're going to play, you had to have a special card to play an orc in Living Forgotten Realms. And I said, just, play a human and call it an orc, or play a Warforged, since Warforged had just come out and they had the same stat bonuses. Just play a Warforged and call yourself an orc. Who's going to care? And my gosh, did they shit bricks. Well, you can't call yourself an orc because my character's not going to believe that you're an actual orc. You're just a robot that looks like an orc. Dude, take a chill pill. Who gives a crap? So I played a Warforged, and he was just a malfunctioning robot. And to model his malfunctions, I chose the Sorcerer class. So, for example, he would have gouts of steam, and as the Sorcerer class, some of his abilities were fire abilities. Or he would short circuit, and an arc of lightning would come out of him and damage people. But he didn't, cast spells or anything. He was just a malfunctioning robot adventurer, and certain things started blowing up and what have you. And, there are people who get that. This isn't a sorcerer. This is just a robot guy, and things happen around him. And other people, it's like, but it says sorcerer on your sheet, so you must be a sorcerer, so... And it's like, dude, just let it go. Just deal with it. Deal with the fact that what it says on the sheet is just a game rule and doesn't have to exist the same exact way within the game world. These are people who have difficulty differentiating between reality and fiction. So, forgetting all of that, let's not talk about 4th edition. There's characters that I will never... Well, this says never play ever, and that implies that you really didn't like the character. I talked yesterday about Mikhail and how I wasn't probably ever going to play Mikhail again because there's so much involvement with the character that, I played him for a while, and then he's evolved afterwards, that to bring him back into a game doesn't seem right. So I probably wouldn't play Mikhail, although I might play a Mikhail-esque character. Same thing for Cervantes Ordóñez. Strovil, of course, I would play again. I'm trying to think if there's anyone that I just really didn't enjoy that wasn't 4th edition. I'd probably never ever play Worf again, Worf the Dwarf, although I have played Worf's son, Worf 2. Worf 2 was remarkable in that I rolled a 5 for charisma, which means as a dwarf you get -2 charisma, so his charisma score was 3. And then at the time we were playing 2nd edition using the skills and options material, and one of the optional rules that we were using was sub-scores. So each ability score had 2 different ability scores underneath it. And for charisma, there was personality and comeliness, or how attractive physically you were. And when you assign these sub-scores, the normal ability score adjustments, so like the fact that strength adds to damage and also adds to carrying capacity, those were 2 different those got assigned to those 2 different sub-scores. So for charisma, they split it up into the personality and the appearance, and you were able to vary your base score, so your charisma score, up or down 2 points, up to 2 points, in assigning your sub-ability scores. So I had a 3 charisma, and so I decided I had a 5 personality and a 1 comeliness. I was as ugly as you could possibly get on the ugliness scale. You could not go below 1. So, I mean, it was literally as ugly as possible. And so Worf 2 wore a bag over his head because he was so ugly. I think this is also the game where we came up with the idea of the ugly stick. A magic item that if you hit someone with it, it deals charisma damage. Which, of course, Worf was immune to because you couldn't get uglier than he was. And there was some idea that maybe he had already been beaten with the ugly stick. The old phrase is, looks like he fell out of the ugly tree and hit every branch on the way down. That's him. Probably wouldn't ever play Worf 2 again. Mostly, all of the characters that I would play are, I mean, all the characters that I used to play, I'd be willing and open to play again. I guess I would say, and this is a bit of a cop-out, but one character that I would never play ever again is my 2nd edition bard, Trenton. Trenton was a bard. I did not create him. This is, once again, just like my best friend Chuck, who was my DM in 2nd edition. Just like he created Strovil and gave me Strovil, he also created Trenton, the bard, and gave me Trenton. Trenton had a trident. Trenton was a trident-wielding bard. And in the first encounter of the campaign, we were walking along and we encountered a hobgoblin, I believe it was a hobgoblin, guarding a bridge, and he wanted a toll. And I said, no, I'm not paying you any toll, and I started to attack the hobgoblin. And I rolled very poorly, and the hobgoblin rolled very well, and I ended up dying. Trenton the bard died to a hobgoblin guarding a bridge. And then Chuck said, no, let's undo that. Go ahead and we'll pretend the fight never happened and you gave him the money. And so we did that, but in my mind, Trenton the bard is dead. He died a long time ago to a hobgoblin because he was too cheap to give the hobgoblin some money. Now, what was funny was, and this is the reason why I remember this story so well, when we first got to the bridge, he said we had to pay a toll. And I said, no, I'm not paying any toll. And I tried to kill him, and he killed me instead. And then when we retconned it back and Trenton came back to life, the toll was copper pieces or silver pieces. It was I think it was 2 silver. If I remember correctly, it was 2 silver pieces. Trenton had like 25 or 30 gold pieces on him, so 2 silver pieces was nothing for him to pay. So not only did Trenton spout his mouth off and suck in combat and die, but he did it all for 2 silver pieces. A ridiculously small amount of money, of which he had 125 times more money than necessary to pay the toll and live. So I would say that I would never ever play Trenton the Bard again. Until tomorrow, bye-bye.